Hi, I'm Liz Larson with The Art of Frosting. And for a while now, we've been talking about doing a bride Barbie cake. And I kind of wondered, what would be the appropriate use of a bride Barbie cake? I don't know, kind of weird to do it for a little girl, but I came up with it. It's perfect for a wedding shower cake. If you have a bride who loves pretty dresses or Barbie, this is the perfect bridal shower cake. So there's a lot of fun things to talk about here, so let's get started.
Before we get started, I have a special treat. In fact, I want to dedicate this Barbie video to two of our youngest decorators, to Elsie and Talia. Their mom sent me these photos that you'll see right after these clips of Elsie and Leah cake decorating their very own Barbie cakes. It's amazingly inspirational, so make sure you guys comment and give a shout out to them too.
For this project, there's a couple things that we need that we don't normally need. One is tulle. This is lingerie tulle. It's a kind of netting. You can see here that is stretchy, and it's really available at any fabric store. You want about 1/4 yard of that. We want a bag with a coupler setup. We're going to use a 104, a number 4 rider, a number 22 or 23 star, and any kind of a leaf tip. This one happens to be a Wilton 352. We're going to use some pins. These are pearl-headed pins. And we're going to use those to attach our tulle for our veil. Want a little bit of sprinkles, something pretty for the cake, some kind of a little pearl. These just happen to be Wilton sprinkles. Also, we want a little bit of shimmer, so some kind of edible glitter. We want a Barbie for sure, the prettiest one you can find. We're going to use a little bit of coconut, and on top of our 10-inch round, we're going to use 2 6-inch rounds. So I've got the stretchy tulle on here, and by the way, it's T-U-L-E. I know it's going to be hard for you to see white against white, but I want you to get the idea. I'm cutting 18 inches here. So if you can see the 18-inch mark, I'm just going to cut it across like that. And then the next thing is I just want to cut a quick U shape at the base. So just start towards the middle and cut a U towards the top so we can just get the really nice soft shape of the edge of a veil. So this Barbie had long hair. I just twisted her hair up and pinned it in. It's really easy. You just push the pins right into her head, which we're going to do a little bit more of now. So you just want to start gathering. So you're just folding, and you're going to start at one side of her head, about there, and just push your pins right down in her head. And then fold again, and another pin all the way across to get this nice gathered veil. And you see the pins are kind of pretty, so they add to the effect. They look like pearls, but we're going to pin it all the way across like this. Keep pinning, keep pinning, keep pinning. So I'm down to the last pin. I want to just match, make sure that it goes about the same side on both sides of her head. So there's a lot of veil here, and we're going to be working with a lot of icing. So I'm just going to wrap the veil around her head and then use a little bit of this cling wrap. That will keep the veil nice and clean while we work on the rest of the Barbie. Before we get started on Barbie, I want to show you the decoration that I did for the bottom of the cake, or the mock wedding cake part. I really wanted it to look very traditional, but you could do almost anything. I just wanted to show that it really was wedding cake. So I did some basic garlands, and I used 3 different tips, well actually 4, with the leaf. So I wanted to show you, this is a garland marker. Now I rarely use these, just full disclosure, but this is one from Wilton, and it's for an 8 to 10-inch round. It has these teeth on it that will actually mark your garlands. And if you're just getting started, this is a great way to go. Eventually you may not need one. So I'm starting here with my number 104 rose tip. I've got the point of the tip angled down, and just with very even pressure, I'm just going to pull a garland all the way across, just like that. Now this is why I'm using the coupler, because I can switch out very quickly. Now the idea would be is that you'd put each layer down all the way around the cake, but I'm doing it one at a time so I can show you here. The next step is with my star tip. This is a number 22. Even light pressure, heavy pressure, light pressure to make a garland. Switch out with my number 4 writer. Now this is where we're going to do string tip. This is where that football stance comes in. I know you guys have heard me talk about it. I know you can't see me because I'm off camera, but you want to bend your knees and be able to move from side to side. See how I'm moving here? Start, nice even pressure, drop. Start to swivel to the side. And there's one. And there's 2. The next bit is 2 dropped strings. Let it drop, pull back up. 1 more, drop, pull back up, and anchor. Do that one more time over here. And anchor. Swap out one more time for a leaf tip. And we're just going to zigzag, come right down, zigzag, come right down. For now, we're going to leave our top border off so that we don't mess it up while we're working on Barbie. Okay, our next step is our 6-inch rounds. I just have 2 6-inch rounds stacked. Now you probably don't want to put any filling in this because you don't want it to ooze out and cause trouble, and we're going to really manipulate this cake. So the first thing we want to do is take our cake knife. Now we're going to use dowels, so you want to mark your center anyway. Get it punctured through the bottom of your board, cake board here. I do have this placed on a cake board. So there's my center mark, and I want to start to cut diagonally. What I'm going to do is shape what will be her skirt, and it's probably not a bad idea to decide how far in you want to go. I want to leave about 2, maybe 2.5 inches in the center. And then you just want to start cutting diagonally, shaving off this top layer. Now this is just going to be the base of her skirt. Remember that this Barbie doesn't have cake all the way up around her bodice. All right, so I think that looks about right. Now I want to test because I want Barbie's to be all the way up to her knees. Now this is a little taller, which is good because she's not going to go all the way down in. So that's about right. And I think I want to shave just a tiny bit more off the edge. Just a little. So now you have the skirt shaved. Check, just make sure it's nice and even. You don't have to go overboard on here. We're going to have a lot of icing covering this skirt. So you do want to come in and cut just a little bit in the center so that Barbie can go down in. And I mean just a little, like a 1 by 1 inch square, maybe even just a little larger than that, because you want her to be able to stand up very, very straight. If her legs are, if this hole is too big, she'll fall over. And we're really going to be manipulating this. So just a small square, just enough, just to give a little ease so that she can go down in. So before we can get started decorating the Barbie, we have a little business to attend to. We've got to stack the 6 onto the 10. Now my 10 is fully doweled. If you don't know how to stack a cake with dowels, I will attach the how to stack a wedding cake video. Very important. You don't want to have your 10 squish or push down all your fillings, and you don't want to have them stick together either. So under here are all my dowels. I'm putting down coconut. Now if you don't like coconut, use something else. You just want something that is going to seal your board and keep it from soaking into your cake. That is a big mess, so you can use crushed cookies, nuts, whatever that will keep the two things separate so that when you pull them apart, you don't have a big mess. That's the point. I'm giving a quick crumb ice to my 6-inch layers here. Now I've actually had people write in and tell me that I am saying that wrong, that it's crumb coat. Well, just so you know, I think that sounds weird. I was taught crumb ice, the same thing. You're getting a nice layer of icing on your cake to keep the crumbs down and from showing through. Once you have your 6-inch crumb iced and your coconut on, you want to go ahead and center it on your cake. Now, if you haven't noticed, I've moved down to my lower turntable so that I can work on this. Keep your eyes open, guys, at thrift stores, garage sales, wherever, for one of these very low. This is an old Lazy Susan, it's wood. Just make sure that the bearings work great, but you should be able to pick them up for just a couple of bucks. It is really useful to have several sizes of turntable. So just get it in the center. And the next step is we want to put a dowel down through this cake and into the 10-inch round. You want a sharpened bamboo dowel. It's actually what I use is a kebab skewer, and it works great. Cut it off with your wire clippers. Actually, these aren't wire clippers. These are garden clippers, nice clean ones that you only use for cakes. All right, next you want to take Barbie with her toweled head here, and you want to get her down in. Now this Barbie actually has hinged knees, which isn't the best for this cake, but I thought she was really a pretty Barbie. I liked that she had jewelry on. So you're just gonna gently, now see what I mean? We're kind of pushing down, bearing down on the cake. If the 10-inch underneath wasn't doweled, it would never be able to support that. So just carefully push your Barbie down in. To right about her knees. That's going to be perfect. You want to get her arms up and above her head. And then just take a last look and make sure everything is even and where you want it before we start to decorate. So I've got my quick icing tip here, and I'm going to just start building in her dress. Now we're going to start with a lot of icing to start, and then we're going to go ahead and sculpt it down with our Ziploc bag trick. So I've got my first layer on. You can see that doesn't have much shape. We want it to be round, so just come in and start to shape up here. The back, we want to give her a little bit of booty there. I've got my handy dandy Ziploc here, and we're just going to cut the end. Now if you guys have watched my videos or any of Leah's videos, she is the queen of this, but it's how we shape. So just cup it with your thumb there, so you've got a nice round. And we're just going to basically start eliminating icing. Now, if you're not very skilled at this, or if it's your first time, this is not a big deal. This can all come off, and you can start again. So we're looking for a nice, smooth skirt. And it's going to take a little bit to just go ahead and trim down to you're at the shape that you want. So just keep going round and round till you get that shape. So you want to get your basic shape and basically smooth, but it doesn't have to be perfectly smooth at this point because we do need to add in her bodice and make sure we shape the back the way we want. Now the cool thing is that this dress could actually match your bride's dress if it has this kind of a shape. So whatever her bodice line is, her neckline or the back line, you can match that, which would be kind of fun. So I'm just going to make a sweetheart's neckline here. And then essentially you just want to outline where the parameters of her dress are going to go, all the way down the sides and all the way into the back. I want her to kind of have a drapey back here. And so you can add all the way up the back if you want to, or anyway, but you're going to fill in and basically get your shape here now. We want to fill in the bust, and we're going to smooth this for the most part. Now if you're going to do a different decor here, ruffles or some kind of lace, you don't have to worry about smoothing it out too much. So basically get your shape on, and then we are going to smooth one more time with just a little smaller piece. So go ahead and cut that piece in half. One trick, guys, too, is to wipe off in between. You'll get a much smoother look that way. Just come back in and start smoothing again. Now I have to tell you guys, this is hard even for me. The only person I think it's not hard for is Leah. So give yourself a little time to get this part just right. So once you have your basic shape, you can come back in with just a little bit of a paper towel here. And if you dampen it, it works out great too. Just come in and extract where you want, or clean up the back a little bit if you need to. Now, if your lines aren't perfectly straight, that's okay. I'm going to show you a lace technique. It's great when you can cover things up with icing. So another trick is you want to take your handy dandy baggy top here and dip it in some hot water. Just a little bit, just so there's just a tiny bit damp, and you can smooth just a little bit more with that. If you don't have the real smoothness that you want, just a tiny bit. Now this works if you're using the whip topping, the Pastry Pride, and it works even better if you're using buttercream, but just a tiny bit will give you the smoothness that you want. Don't overwork it. We're going to add some lace and other things on, so get it to the point where you want, and let's move on to the skirt. We're going to get ready to start on the skirt, and I've got a big rose tip. This is a number 1270. You can also use your quick icer for this as well, but if you have a big rose tip, go ahead and use it. So I mean, there's a lot of different ways that we can do this, but I am going to start by putting a ruffle here at the bottom. And I think what I'm going to do is put several layers of ruffle. I may leave them that way, or I may sculpt them into one set of ruffles. See how it works out. That's a great thing about this. We're making it up as we go. It's all an experiment. But you see I'm doing big, long ruffles, a big zigzag. I'm angling outward. Of course, I've got the tip angled down. We're just going to take that all the way around. So I'm adding on a second layer of ruffle, nice big long ruffles, bring them up into the bottom of the skirt. Now you could leave it just like this. You could do 2 rows of ruffles if you want to. I had an original idea of having this be one long skirt. So I've kind of started in the back here, and you just want to take your bag here and just run down the seams and just very lightly smooth it together. So you want to very lightly just kind of run down the seams and just gently blend it together. You don't want to do too much here, but you see I'm kind of creating folds. Just really gently bring it down. Where you have a spot here where the two are not blending very well, just lightly. Now you're going to want to get in there and keep blending, but the more you do, you're kind of going to make a mess. So do as little as possible with this. So you want to very, very gently bring the skirt up into the dress, wherever you need to, and just very lightly come up in. So I've cut a tiny tip off the end of my bag, and I'm just going to come in and create what's called sotis. You guys have seen me do this a million times. It's just a little zigzaggy lace with a really fine point. So I'm just kind of giving some lace decoration around the top of the bodice, and I want to bring it down the back as well. And then I'm going to repeat this same motif with the Barbie's dress. I'm going to start with a point coming up like this, and then coming down onto my skirt. So she'll have the points and gores onto the skirt all the way around. You can add as much or as little lace as you want, and you know me, more is always more, but I'm going to stop myself here, and I'm just going to add a little bit of our sparkle, our shine around where our lace is. So if you can find some diamond shine sparkle, or this is some pearl, just sprinkle it on the edges of where your lace is, and it'll get a really pretty little sparkle. It's probably going to be hard for you to see on camera, but in person it's very pretty. Also, now is a place where you want to come and add in your pearls, and just kind of randomly sprinkle them throughout. This might take you a few minutes because you want to be delicate about it and get them in all the right places. And add them to your lace here too. I made her just a little tiny bouquet of lobelia. I thought that would be really pretty. Have a little fresh flower bouquet. And just let it touch your dress a little bit. That'll hold it firmly. And then you want to go ahead and carefully take off her turban here and let down her veil. So, and then you can decide how you want her veil to fall. It's very, very soft, but you need to commit to it. Once you drop it, you're going to be touching the icing. You're not going to be able to move it again. I kind of want to bring it around the front and let it drape down the side like so. So that's it. That's our bridal Barbie doll cake. So a few things. I ended up not putting a top border on. We did talk about a top border, but in the end we didn't need one. Another reason why your cake needs to be blocked expertly. So if you decide to leave the top border off, you can. If for some reason you needed to put a border on, probably just your 104 writing tip and a little reverse shell would be perfect there, or even a straight shell. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. I had a lot of fun. I can't wait to see what you guys do with it. We have a great community over on Facebook at The Art of Frosting, where great decorators from around the world are sharing their work with us. You can also message me there and ask questions. Don't forget that at The Art of Frosting, www.theartoffrosting.blogspot.com, there's a whole body of my work there where you can type in what you're searching for and find some of the answers that you're looking for there as well. Don't forget, you can now find me at Etsy, where you can find my jewelry, at the Woodshop TV. Put all those in the links, as well as a link to how to stack a cake. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Lots more to come. See you again real soon.